7th winner of the year. First time this happens since the 2012 season, and a first-time win for Oscar Piastri. But unfortunately, that's not the headline of the race. A McLaren 1-2 in Hungary, and somehow it wasn't boring. I don't know how. Hungary has a history of boring races, and after a qualifying session that saw the top two McLarens lock up the front row, it is astonishing that there is so much drama and highlights after that race. Let's just jump right into it. Let's talk first about Max and Lewis. That got a glimpse of the 2021 season, which I love. Those two battling is the best thing for me. It's the best thing as an F1 fan to watch. I'm a Lewis fan, but I love Max's driving, and those two just really, really, really don't like each other. Like, no matter how politically they're trying to cope with each other, but it's so obvious that when Max sees that yellow helmet, he's gonna either block you or hit you. And for Lewis as well, he becomes more aggressive if it's Max. And obviously, of course, there's going to be animosity between the two after the shared history that they have. But yeah, I really enjoyed the battle that they had until the last bit when Max outbraked himself, went for a slightly unrealistic move and crashed. So hit Lewis's tire basically and went flying through. And yeah, thank God both of them recovered from this though. It was weird. After like what happened in Austria, they literally just scraped each other, Norris and Verstappen, and they were both out of the race almost. And Max managed to crawl to the pits, but this time around, no, the cars were fine. I'm sure Red Bull had a bit of a damage in the floor. I would be surprised if they didn't. And yeah, a podium for Lewis. Amazing race, I think, by him. He didn't have the pace. He shouldn't have the pace to challenge Max throughout the race. But the Mercedes pulled a very, very good strategy. They caught Red Bull off guard twice, which is slightly Red Bull's fault. Like, okay, if you get an undercut at the beginning, you can get caught out, like Max said after the race. But twice, it's difficult to comprehend after a team that has been dominant for years now. And yeah, well played by Mercedes, well played by Lewis. Not a mistake in the race. And the crash, 100% Max's fault in my opinion. If it's not 100%, I would give it a 90-10. Lewis did move the steering wheel a little bit, but also he was just going out from a back marker, and Max really dived down the inside. Anyway, amazing battle to see here from both of them. Let's move on to McLaren, the disaster that happened between them. Yes, they got a 1-2. They got a 1-2 finish, the first 1-2 finish since 2012 by Lewis and Jenson Button. And still, they managed to make it dramatic. They managed to make it a disaster of a team decision of pitting Norris before Piastri, causing the undercut, causing Norris to get ahead of Oscar and then pleading him, please give the place back. And literally blackmailing him over the radio to give the place back. The guy who's fighting Max Verstappen in the championship. Granted, he is 70 plus points behind, but if he loses the championship at the end of the year by 6 points, by 5 points, he's going to look back at this and he's going to have some serious things to say to Andrea Stella and the whole team, to be honest. I was really surprised about the way McLaren handled this. At the beginning, I thought that, they had a deal between them, so Norris giving the place back to Piastri, he should actually do it. He's ignoring the team radio. He's not being a team player, and he should give the place back. But after watching it again and watching the team radios again, there was no agreement between them. So basically, they didn't tell Norris, at the beginning, listen, we're going to pit you, okay? You're going to undercut Piastri. You're going to come out ahead of him. And when you do, we'll give the place back to Piastri. Okay? If you confirm to this, we're going to do this plan. It should have been that way. But no, they did undercut to cover Hamilton, which was such nonsense. Like, Hamilton was very far behind. It was a bad call. And later on, they thought that Oscar would have more pace and would actually close that gap more. And let's look at the team radios, because that was astonishing to me. Okay, so this is Lando's radio. Okay, Lando, Oscar has just pitted. He'll likely come out just behind you. We'd like to reestablish the order at your convenience. That was the first time that was mentioned, which is lap 48, which means Lando already did the undercut and Oscar already is pitting now. This wasn't an agreement before the undercut happened, all right? So that is my problem with it. This should have been before. And then the radios about saving the tires, just to let him slow down, basically. We need you to save tire. We don't want you to let Oscar through. And Lando responded, well, you should have boxed him first then, surely. That's exactly right. And the race engineer replied to him, it doesn't matter. And Lando said, it does for me. Of course it does for him. He's leading the championship and he is on the lead right now of the race. To throw away a win is a very difficult thing to do. I can guarantee you that Max wouldn't have done it, Schumacher wouldn't have done it, and Hamilton wouldn't have done it as well. If he was ahead, and it was the exact same scenario. We saw Hamilton giving Bottas back to the position before, but it was a completely different scenario. He was talking to the team, listen, let me through. I will go and catch, I forget the car in front was, and I will give back the position if I didn't. Agreement. That's all I'm asking for, an agreement, which didn't happen here. And obviously, Lando got screwed, in my opinion. And then this weird radio, just remember every Sunday morning meeting we have. Like, just imagine we are in the meeting and you have to face Oscar every single Sunday before the race and all of the stuff, how awkward it's going to be. Yeah, but it's not my fault. It's not my fault. It's completely your fault. You should be embarrassed in every Sunday meeting. You should feel awkward looking at Oscar's face after you screwed him out of his first ever win. That should have been what would happen, the result of this. And Lando replied with, tell him to catch up then, please, which Oscar didn't. Lando had an insane pace at the last stint. Oscar was nowhere near Lando at the last stint. He was making mistakes. He was feeling the pressure. Lando was pulling that gap. I think Lando thought in the back of his mind that if I pull a big enough gap, then this whole switch will not happen, because it will be like, then now it's too late and Oscar is not catching up. Which was, if I was him, I would have done exactly the same thing. But Lando did compromise and he did concede the position to Oscar. And I think he was just trying to do the right thing in his mind to please the team. And they were really blackmailing him about like, you need a teammate, you need the team to win a championship. Yeah, it's true. All of that is true. You could have said the same thing to Max Verstappen in Mexico 2022 when he refused to give Perez back the position, and I wouldn't have minded that at all, because that was just a D move, basically, right? But this wasn't the case. This was completely not Norris's fault, neither Oscar's fault. Oscar was screwed by this call. And if he lost that race, he has full right to blame the team, not Lando, the team. So yeah, that was an absolute shambles by McLaren, which was a super smooth race supposed to be. They managed to somehow make it dramatic. Let's move on to the driver standing. After the end of the Hungarian Grand Prix, we have Max Verstappen at 265 points, 76 points ahead of Lando Norris at second place with 189, and then Leclerc with 162, then Carlos Sainz 154, Oscar Piastri 149, Then Lewis Hamilton jumped 2 positions with 125, 1 point ahead of Perez at 7th place, and 8th, George Russell. These are the top 8, the ones that we're going to be talking about for the rest of the season. Some negative, some positive when it comes to Sergio Perez. Granted, he had a good race yesterday. Let's give that to him. He had a very good race. He made it to the point, but obviously a disastrous qualifying. All right, guys, this is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. And please, if you want to watch more F1 content, subscribe to the channel, press the like button, and we'll see you next time.